Yeah, Bad Illusion's having a bad time. He had to miss Neil's stream, which he wanted to catch, and now he has to miss mine as well. He wanted to be here. That is sad. Well, both of them are recorded anyway. He posts everything in the recordings channel. Okay, let's see. I wanted to go over a few things today. Yeah, it's starting better. We have the screen share. Let's get it. Yeah, you're allowed to ask any questions for sure. As long as you learn from it, it's really not a stupid question. Um, in general, I want to go over a few things today. I want to go over BTC. I want to go over a few alts I think look interesting. Um, and I wanted to go over BTC dominance because I think every chart is essentially at a pretty pivotal point. So I just wanted to go over those. I wanted to chart a few important coins, and then we can start taking some requests. How do you look at a market cap on TradingView? Okay, so now not every coin has this on TradingView, but essentially what you can do is you just type in like SOL, and then it's going to be the highest option. There, the market cap chart. Or like LDO. Oh, that is a company. LDO, and then you press the crypto cap thing. Can everyone still hear me okay? Okay, since Tigruki can't hear me. Yeah, okay. Okay. So first things first. Let's start with BTC. I showed this chart in my channel today and yesterday for a very important reason. And this is like general advice to everyone that actively trades. I recommend anyone and everyone to have one layout where you don't actually trade. So this is my trading layout, for example. But where you just have a high time frame chart just to look at. Just so that if you are if you're like zoomed in on a chart, you're trading a lot, that you don't get tunnel vision. Because, for example, when I go on BTC on this chart, what we can see is, well, I just hide the quick little scalp things. What you can see is, well, this chart, if we are looking at this range, this looks pretty bearish, right? This looks pretty bad. But if you go back to like the slightly higher time frame chart, you can see, hey, on this chart, on this little range we have here, so there's the range, this is your zero, this is your mid range, this is your range lows. On that chart, we are just sitting at range mid. We touched range lows, we broke above our mid range, and now we're coming down for a retest. So when you look at it like that, you get a way different perspective than by zooming in on the charts and looking at it like this. So I recommend anyone to like have a chart which is essentially just a zoomed out chart that has like a few important levels on it, but nothing too much, just so you can see it clearly, so you can like look at it from a different perspective. So essentially, this chart is the one I use for analysis. And what I can see right now is what I just described, right? We touched range lows, we broke out of it. We went pretty far up, actually. We went like over 2/3 of it. And then we came back where we are now testing mid-range. And how is that going? Well, on the daily time frame, we tapped it, closed above. Tapped it, closed above again. Tapped it once more, swept like all of the lows, right? This one also swept the lows, but we swept the lows once again. Then we even closed green right above mid-range. This is a very good candle, because what that shows is that we have now gone below, back into the lower part of this range, and we completely didn't accept there. We took out all of the long liquidity right over there. We grabbed some new orders, and we closed green on the day, even though we went that low. This is a very good candle. I showed this in my channel the moment I woke up and saw the daily candle, right? And that is why I was looking for longs in the first place. Yeah, candle range theory says this candle means reversal. Yeah. No matter how you look at it, every kind of candle theory, if you look at range theory is telling you that this candle swept the lows right over here. So in theory, it cannot instantly sweep this, but the next candle can look to sweep. That is a part of the range candle theory. If you look at candle structures, this is like a very obvious doji candle, right? So after a major downtrend, we have a doji candle, which is the impediment of indecisiveness. So after such a strong downtrend, indecisiveness is a very good sign, because you should be going down further. But showing indecisiveness kind of flips that narrative of having to go down further, and it kind of shows you, hey, the market doesn't actually know where it's going. And then we have one that's red and then another that's green. That is kind of showing you, hey, the market wants to go up. And then we go on a lower time frame. I'll go on the 6 hour. That's my preferred time frame. And what can we see? We can see the exact same thing. We didn't even close a single 6 hour candle below mid-range. So if you're wondering why most analysts have still been calling longs, it is because candle structure right here in this area looks pretty good. Even though we went down that far, it looks pretty good. If we go back in the daily has now, I went over this on last stream as well. The daily is finally in an uptrend. So essentially, we are looking for areas like this too long, because our weekly is in an uptrend, our daily is in an uptrend. So all we have to do now is we wait for 4 hour time frames, 6 hour time frames, or 1 hours to start flipping positive and start uptrending as well. And that is what we can use for longs, because we are now fully time frame aligned again because of this weekly change of character, because we are now in an uptrend. So that is also why I've been mostly looking for longs still. And that is why we are in longs and why we are still in spot positions. So that is essentially my quick summary of my take on BTC, is because I think in general this looks pretty good. And do note, for the daily to be in an uptrend, we can still go a lot lower. The daily will only swap back to a downtrend if we close below 50. I'm on the daily, right? Yeah, if we close below 53,900. But in general, I think this is a very good area. The other area that essentially everyone is kind of looking at is this area right over here. The 58k area. We have an order block there. We have a golden pocket there. We have a lot of confluence there. So that's the second area. This one, which we just bounced off, is my first. Slightly lower is my second. I think either of those two is going to hold, and that is why we're looking for longs. Okay, let's get to the actual trading charts. Good layout, right? Yeah. Let's get to BTC. If I go on BTC, and I'll disable most of it to kind of reduce noise, because I know a lot of you aren't actually used to look at chaotic charts, we can see a few things. Let's see. Oh no, I actually keep the channel. Explained earlier, so that's fine. What I'm looking at are a few things. One, on this chart again, we have this mid-range right over here, which is our first level. Two, we have a white swan harmonic right over there. That is an informal harmonic pattern. To make it simple, that's all the boxes where I expect us to bounce. I expect us to do this. I do have a long marked out. Actually don't, okay. I'm looking for a long somewhere along these lines. I want to essentially use this candle on the 6 hour as an entry. And I'm going to use the bottom of this trend as a stop loss. So somewhere like this. And I'm going to look to target at least the highs over here. Because as we know, because we said it earlier, right? Our daily is in an uptrend. So after a higher high and a higher low, because we are expecting a higher low to be formed, the next thing we can expect is again a higher high. That's an uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows. So we can at least target this. I am looking at it along these lines. I'm gonna refine it soon. I think there is a chance we still pull back. If we start showing signs of weakness, I'm gonna refine this long and then I'm gonna post it. But in general, I think BTC either goes up and we start potentially a reaction here, mainly looking at this area, or we go down and then up. But that was my minimum target, right? What I said. That is my at least. I think we can at least go for that. SFP at the 15 minutes. Let's take a look. Oh. Okay. For a full SFP, you ideally want the candles to close not only below the wick, but also below the bodies. So if I take this high right over here, and I take the bodies and the wicks, you can see that we have closed a few bodies within, and we haven't actually taken out the wick yet. So no, I wouldn't call this an SFP. Because of that reason. Ideally, you want to just wick into it and then instantly close below. I'll show you what a good SFP looks like in a moment, because we do have a few of them. What was I? I was gonna draw targets because, as I said, this high is my first target, right? That is the first thing we can target, because if the daily is in an uptrend, essentially we're just looking to take out the next high. What is the actual target? That is gonna be this little bearish butterfly that we have. So if I draw an XABCD tool from the highs to the lows, what we can see is that we get a nice combination of ratios. This thing is called a bearish butterfly. I'll put a cheat sheet on the screen in a second. It's this thing. This is not completed, right? So I cannot actually trade this. But what we can do is, if we have a long setup, we can look to target it, because that is a major reversal point, right? And essentially for long targets, you want to look at reversal points. So if I get into longs right over here, if I get into longs at 58k, that is going to be my final target, because that is my most likely rejection zone. That's going to be that butterfly. And I can already chart the short, right? It's going to be something along these lines, but we haven't actually formed that yet. In general, I use uncompleted harmonics like this for targets, not necessarily for plays. So if I'm just going to keep the long enabled, because, well, if I enable the swan, we're going to get that. Actually, I'm going to just enable them individually. So let's say we get some price action like this. I'm going to essentially look for this as a target, as a final target. I'm going to at least take a TP right over there. Probably right over here as well, because we have like a daily breaker block right over there. And I think that's going to be about it. I think this long only really needs 2 TPs, depending on what we form down here, right? So that would be my eventual target. Just keep it right here. And yes, I know that is essentially calling for all-time high. I do not know if we're actually going to get all-time high if we get that. What I do think is we're going to get at least a TP1 and TP2. What we get after that, I don't know. We'll see. So essentially, that is what I'm looking for. What is that? Oh, that is Capo. Brother, do not look at Capo. You know, I used to use Capo's Twitter for my thumbnails. Because I remember that he was calling, I think it was like right over here, somewhere over here. It was somewhere along these lines where I literally posted, like, I am completely out of the altcoin market, and the altcoin market just went absolutely mental. And he did it a few times as well. I don't know what it is with Puppy. You're literally better off counter trading him than actually following him. That is probably more profitable. He called for short at 13k. No, this is just in case. I think we go up here. I think judging by this chart, sorry for the flashback, I think judging by this chart, I think we go up. Because we have flipped this mid-range to support. But just in case we do go down, that's when I'm going to start looking for this. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I chart on 2 layouts now. I'm very used to it. So, but I need to kind of remember that this is kind of a flashback every time I go back to that. Okay, let's see. That is it for Bitcoin. Next up is going to be BTC dominance. This is a rather chaotic chart, but I promise you there is a lot of method to the madness. I'll remove the noise. So I'm gonna remove the little brushes and I'm gonna hide the fans. This is what I'm looking at. Essentially, I have marked out every major reversal level right over here, except for one. I'll mark that out in a bit. That we have. So we have a bearish butterfly right over here. This is the same one that I showed earlier on the screen, but this one also extends to the 141 XOD. So this butterfly is forming these purple boxes as resistance and support. Then if I zoom in slightly more, we have this bearish deep crab right over here. That is our little red box for resistance currently. And we have a guardian, a deep guardian, which we bounced off of. This is the reason why altcoins have been performing so poorly while BTC was dropping. Because BTC dominance touched this guardian and just absolutely reacted to it. It reacted really well. But on the bright side, if we zoom in a little more, we can see that we have formed a bearish bat and a bearish Leo right over there. We currently rejected the Leo. You can see right over here. Actually, perfectly tapped the mid, I think. Oh, that didn't tap. Perfectly tapped the bottom of that. That is interesting. So what we can see on this now is we have two options. This is our previous bearish butterfly, right? That is the little butterfly we have over here on the left that formed this little box. Something to know about harmonics that not a lot of harmonic traders use, which is very, very confluent. If you have a bearish PRZ just like this, if you go above it and then you go back down, you can flip it to support. You can treat harmonic PRZs essentially the same way you can use support resistance or liquidity levels. This, because we broke above it, can be support. If we start seeing candles like this, exactly like the one we have over here, right? Or I can probably, exactly, for example, like this 4-hour candle, right? If we start seeing candles like this and we start building on top of it, that is a very strong sign. That means we are probably going to either retest the Leo. I don't think it holds a second time. That means we're probably going to test this 141 level. So if we hold this, I think we see this, essentially. So if the candle closes like this, I am looking for upside. And I will look for a reaction here. If it fails, I will look for a reaction here. I think in general, market structure-wise, BTC dominance has been on an absolute tear, right? And also, I'll actually send a screenshot first. Either we need to do this, or we break below and then we go low. Then we target these boxes. So I'll send this first. Yeah, I'll go to Bobcat after BTC dominance. This is like the last indicator chart I want to go over. So that's essentially the lower time frame, right? What we can see is that BTC dominance has been on an absolute tear. Essentially, if I go to a daily structure, we have just been uptrending. This is just vertical accumulation. It is actually just going up, right? So that is the reason why, even though BTC is that high and we've been raging essentially at all-time high, most alts are very low. There are some alts that have even broken like the bear market lows, right? Like for example, Sushi has like completely wicked all-time low. Zeke has done the same. Adam is essentially like below bear market lows, etc. Also performing pretty poorly, except for a few. So what I am looking at is I am not looking at a lower time frame for actual reversal, right? Because this chart on a higher time frame is just too strong. I'm not looking at reversal on a lower time frame for this. What I am looking at is very, very high time frame confluences. So what we have is, if I take like literally the all-time high, right? I think this just, yeah, this is essentially 100% to all-time low. And I know fans are a bit abstract, so I'm going to remove everything except for the levels I'm looking at. So I am essentially just looking at this 786 right over here. That is this diagonal right over here. That is our first macro, like fib resistance, like pure macro. I can draw one from this level as well, to the all-time low. That is what we're currently flipping to support, right? That is our current level that we're flipping to support. But I am currently looking at like the higher time frame level. So this fan, I'm gonna exclude this from the equation real quick because of what I'm gonna draw up in a second. It is 100% a valid fan though. If you were to look for every level, you would absolutely include it. So what I'm looking at is essentially the core of most harmonics. Harmonics are 5-wave structures, but they originate from 4-wave structures. They originate from AB equals CDs. You can draw these in a few ways. These are called reciprocal ones. Essentially what it means is it is a little bit of human pattern recognition, right? Essentially what it means is if your A to B leg is going to be a length, so in this case it's going to be this arrow, right? Then if I place that same length over C, we can expect that C to D leg to have about the same length, because people are going to look at it and be like, hey, we pumped this much, and then they're going to be looking at this one, they're going to be like, hey, it pumped this much. A bit of human pattern recognition. This is a very old pattern called the lightning pattern. That is essentially an ABCD. This is what harmonics come from. And what we did to that is there are ratios attached to this. So in this case, this is a 1.618. And the 1.618, as you can see, aligns with an ABCD at a 0.618. So that is why I am looking for, and it sounds very, I just explained a lot of stuff to go to a very simple conclusion. I am looking at a golden pocket rejection for that reason. Not just because there is a golden pocket there, but because it is a reciprocal ABCD. And what we can see if we enable that on the daily, if you ever wonder why I use 24-hour and daily charts, it's because of this. So I can see stuff. If I go back to our little daily range, we're getting quite close. We have pumped way off the lows, and we are getting quite close to that. These two intersect somewhere along these lines, somewhere like end of the year. Not sure if you're actually going to get that. This time indication is not that reliable. But in general, I'm just looking at this area. This is like the macro level I have for BTC dominance. So if you want your alts to perform really well, and I think we're getting close, that's why I'm pointing it out. This essentially, I'm gonna like kind of exclude this bottom one because that is 0.6 essentially. This area is my main PRZ. This is what I'm looking at for like macro rejection. Until then, we can just keep playing this little lower time frame range, right? We can just keep playing this. But on a very high time frame, we are getting close to the level I have for BTC dominance. So I got a weekly and post that one as well. That out of the way. So in general, I think we are currently ranging. I think we go up a little. I think we go down the moment we touch that 141 butterfly, or alternatively the deep trap if we go a lot higher. But for a low time frame, that's about it. Okay, let's see. We probably have a bunch of coin requests. I saw Popcat already. And there are a bunch of coins we should be looking at, so let's go over those. I'm gonna do Popcat first. I'll actually I'll get on the class list. And we're just gonna hide most of these, and then I'll make a little list. If you have any coin requests, put them in chat, and I will add them to the list during the stream. Popcat is gonna be the first one. I'm gonna add the, I think Maxi was first, or it could be CoinX. I'm gonna remove this. Pretty good short actually. Yeah, CoinX was first actually. Okay. Popcat, first request. This coin, first of all, is actually at all-time high and up 17% on the day. But there is a little thing you can do, okay? So this coin, shorting is a bit out of the question. Even as someone who trades a system that can actually get valid levels like way above all-time high, I wouldn't short this coin at all. I would look for short setups to use for TPs if you're in, or to use as possible recompound levels later. So let's see what we have here. This XTB is kind of nothing right over here. That doesn't really equate to anything. And there are no no real W shapes outside of that, so I'm gonna have to think out of the box a little here and get to see. Do we maybe have a 3 drives? Can maybe make a expect like a 1.5 rejection there. This is a bit sketchy. I don't think this is gonna hold. I'm gonna go to do it a different way. So what I said earlier is that Popcat is really strong. This is shown in price action, right? If Popcat was actually a weak coin, I would have been able to chart bearish harmonics on this. But the ratios are simply not showing weakness. So levels, I would look to P. I'm gonna let's look at this. I'm gonna show the 0 and the 1, and then I'm gonna look for extension levels. Essentially, I'm gonna just take the old all-time high to the low we made after that, right? That like complete impulse drop. We have a few levels. One, our deviation level. That is the 1.272. That is essentially the first level you want to look for. If you enter, I'm gonna add a 131 to that. If you enter this little box right over here, and then reject, that is a major sign of weakness. Usually that will mean a short. I would not take this short setup at all-time high. Where you would look for a reaction like that, you would go within the area, then close below, and you would take a short on an SFP, right? You would place the stops right above the wick. Your TP1 usually would be 1, essentially. 1 of that 1.272. I'm not going to take this. I don't recommend anyone take this. If you are like in a very heavy bag, you can take this as a TP, but I think on the long term, Popcat's going to go a lot higher. So as a trade, I will TP there. If you're holding it as a bag, I wouldn't TP there. What we can, however, use this for is this little thing, a little trick that Archmeister talks a lot about, is if you have a set all-time high, just like this one, right? You could say this was the old all-time high. This is kind of a consolidation structure in my eyes, so we are still in the same up movement. So this, in my eyes, is all-time high. What you can use this for is, let's say we do get this rejection that we're talking about. You can look for a possible long on a retest here. You would not limit long this, right? I mean, you can, but if you want to do that, you would have to go a bit lighter on the limit. And once you get confirmation, you can try and get a long setup right up there. Essentially just using this little consolidation range as your support area, right? Just like that. And the exact level you want to look for is the old all-time high. And whether you want to take that, well, probably a bit higher. Mainly, the main level that price discovery coins often reject on is the 1.618. So if we were to see any kind of significant pullback, I would guess that it's going to be the 1.618. That is going to be my most significant level. But essentially, this is just like a fib pool, right? Actually, charting rejections as an all-time high is really, really hard. And that is why coins that properly break out usually run that hard. You can get levels if you want to. You can get these fib measurements. But you can get higher ones as well. The 1.618 is a very strong level, so that would be an actual TP. And if we get a really good reaction there, I might look to short there. But you can draw higher levels, right? For example, you can draw a 3.14, or you just put pi in there. I was lazy, I put a 3.14. Like you can draw way higher levels if you want to. The main like strongest levels in my experience are the 1.618 and the 3.14. That is essentially what I would look at for Popcat. I would look for something like this. And both of these are trigger plays. This is not something I would take. Like especially this short, I wouldn't take. This long is one I'm gonna look for, but I'm gonna need lower time frame confirmation. So I'm gonna put that in the screenshot as well, so people don't get the wrong idea. Because realistically, who wants to put a short limit at a coin that's at all-time high, right? Especially a coin as strong as this. So that's what I'm looking at for Popcat. Okay, let's see, let's see. I was looking at a few other coins. Um, I was looking at, for example, Ondo. I wanted to chart Sol. Reef. I have never in my life charted Reef. We can take a look at Reef. Okay, let's see if we can get the oldest chart. Gate, Maxi, Qcoin, and Bitget. Either of those usually has the oldest chart. What on earth is that doing? Okay, February. Wait, what February is that? Yeah, I think it's that one. Why is this one showing minus 30%? That is funny, actually. Is that a different one? Yeah, well, look at the price difference on that. Is that actually a different one? Okay. I'll look at this one. Price is not moving though. Is it actually not moving? No, okay, it's just a liquid. Okay, let's see, how are we gonna do this? Okay, I'm gonna say this before I actually get to charting. If on a very high time frame you have an all-time low, I'm gonna do 2 all-time lows for this. If you have an all-time low, if a coin has closes below all-time low, I do not have an interest in it at the moment. And that is for one simple reason, and it's going to count for every single coin we get after this as well, right? It's because BTC is way up. Like, if I go on the BTC chart, and I just look at this one, BTC from this cycle has gone from 15,480 to 74k, right? That is an increase of 380%. If a coin during that time has actually failed to like hold the bear market lows, that is a major sign of weakness. So in general, I am like mostly excluding these kind of coins from my list. However, this coin seems to be actually like properly breaking out of this entire consolidation range. So out of these coins, this one looks a bit better. In general, I would always watch out for stuff like this. If you start building below this area, you kind of just want to stay away from it in general. Now, let's look at Reef. We have a very obvious M shape right over here, but I don't think it's actually going to form anything. No, it's not going to form anything. So let's look at this. We have a 0.618. It is such a shame. So what I explained earlier about lightning patterns, about being the same move twice, that also means that this is a lot less confluent. Equal highs on harmonics are very like a-confluent because you can't get a proper ABCD on it. So let's see. Can I draw anything else on that? Oh, it doesn't. That's not even valid. Wait. Okay. A weird ass chart. Let's see if we can actually get targets. Hey, that is an 886. So we take that to the 1618. See, that is a lot better. I have been doing this a lot lately. It is essentially what I showed a few streams ago with the heat maps, but I'm gonna make it a bit more organized to make sure that you guys can see it as well, because this is a bit chaotic. So essentially what I do is I draw the entire harmonic manually. I go on a significant time frame, and then I look for any clusters. Like for example, if I zoom in like this, you can see that it's very dense up over here. That is very confluent. Now, if I actually look at this, right, our main cluster is right over there. So essentially what we can say is this, and this doesn't look all too good, but that's also just because the time frame is so high, so usually the PRZs are a bit wider. Essentially this is our crab, or a deep crab. So then I'm gonna just take all of this, put it in a little box, deep grab, lock it up, and there you have it. That will be my main area of interest for right now. Yeah, I'm gonna look for the W's later, for sure. Because I saw the shark as well, or at least a very obvious W shape, right? So what Weatherman showed in chat is the other option, and that is a very clean shark actually. That actually surprised me. Look at that. That is nearly a perfect 618, nearly it is a perfect 113. So what we can look for is for sharks, the B to D usually has to be a minimum of a 1618. So I'm gonna pull this up to the 1618, and that is gonna be my minimum. And then I'm gonna take the 113, and that's gonna be the maximum. So I'm just gonna take this area, and that is gonna be my shark. Make it slightly blue. I don't think I actually have one for the shark yet. I'm gonna save that real quick. Considering how we are reacting to this, let's put this in a group. Considering how we are reacting to this high over here, this seems to just be rejecting pretty hard. Yeah, this is rejecting really hard. There's a good chance that we don't actually get that shark. And that we actually just drop here. If this push continues here, what I would like to see is just a general like tap into this box and then like essentially an immediate drop, because you don't want to actually start closing above this high, because that would mean that you actually kind of accept back above that area. But it's current like just completely tapping that X and rejecting. I don't even think we get the shark, because that is like a really big sign of strength. Yeah, that could be. Because this also, it's exactly what I'm saying. It might be just people bullying shorts and then it just raised them. Because this is like a coin, it looks like it has way negative funding. Like this is one of the coins that just skyrockets out of nowhere and then everyone keeps shorting and it just keeps the coin going. Because people just get liquidated and have to close their shorts, etc., etc. It's like literally, it looks like we're short squeezing. Essentially, that is what I would look for. But this also looks like this could be a very strong sign of it just going down. If we ever get to that shark, though, that could be a very good area of interest. If we don't, I'm just going to take that shark. And what sharks do is every shark forms a 5-0. Now, this 5-0, same story as the shark, isn't going to be entirely valid until we actually reach that D point. So until we reach that blue box. But we can still look for it. If I were to draw the PRZ, we would still get a rather confluent area. Simply because of this, right? It is the same thing in nearly every harmonic pattern. If you take this and you put it just over that, you're going to get your PRZ just like that. We haven't gone high enough yet, because ideally you want to place that right in the middle of that shark. So you would be able to put that PRZ right over there. But still, you could just look for a retest of this. So considering where we line up on that potential 5-0, I would just look for a retest of this area. It's a very high time frame chart, I know. Usually when people request coins, they don't want to get charts of this high of a time frame. But yeah, this isn't really chartable. I mean, to be honest, it is. This is just a free drive. I'm kind of yapping. It's a 1707. I thought it was going to be a 1618. That is sad. Still, the last one is a 1618. That's probably what we rejected off of. The targets for this 3 drives would be, let's see. Gonna take my harmonic TPs, exclude these two, and include another level. So because this is a 1618, our main TP area is going to be that 618. So essentially, On a lower time frame, this is where I would look for a rejection. Yeah, you used to like trade over here a bit as well, so there should be some liquidity there. Just gonna tighten this down to that wick over there. That is what I would look for. So potentially this could be the top for now. I would look for upwards momentum here and then another short right over there. That is what I would look for. It's a bit speculative, of course, but these are all of the levels I can give you. In general, I don't like trading very illiquid or like coins like this. I don't personally like trading it. But in general, this is a very good setup. I would probably take this long if the ticker was a bit different, right? Might still look for it. I like this chart. It's very confident because the high time frame looks so good, and the actual ratios on all of these pumps are very solid. Like they are very solid to the actual numbers. So I might actually look at this more often. Weekly. It's gonna. Oh. And on a higher time frame, I would look for a rejection somewhere over here. This would be your main area of interest. If we can ever retest that deep trap, that would be very confluent. Okay, let's see. Do we have any other requests? Otherwise, I'm gonna chart Solana because I haven't charted Sol on this layout yet, and I've started charting in a new way. Right, I'm using the boxes now to make it a bit more like easy to see. I'm using some new patterns, using fans a lot more because fans, by the way, I absolutely love them. I've been enjoying them so much, especially for example. Oh, flashback. For example, on this BTC pump, right? If you were to zoom in a little and just place a fan, what's it called? And just place it like that, literally from the high of this range to the low. It's gonna zoom in and you can just see how like absolutely perfect that 786 tap was. Yeah, exactly. I mean, diagonal fibs just feel like how fibs were before people started actually using them, right? Because if a lot of people are gonna start using it, it's gonna work a bit less. Like I really believe in the efficient market theorem. So if everyone's going to use standard fibs, it's going to lose a part of its effect. That's also, in my opinion, why like 1.x fibs work a lot better, and why harmonics work a lot better, because not that many people use it. And like diagonal fibs are like the perfect example of that, essentially. Like this diagonal 786 has been working absolute wonders. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna look at GTO, BNB, and Sol. That's actually a surprisingly good list. Usually we get coins like this, right? Usually we get these kind of coins, and I'm like, well, I can't really chart this. It's gonna go up. Good luck. Okay, let's look at GTO. I have like a slightly old GTO chart already, but I'll chart it again because I wanna rechart it anyway. Okay, let's see. We have some very obvious M shapes right over here. But as far as I can remember, this doesn't actually form anything. Yeah, because that's a 786. So it's like, yeah, we have a long right over there at 20 cents. Good luck with that. I'm not gonna keep that on my chart. If you ever get there, there's a long day. Let's see. I think with the cipher tool we can make this top work. This is not gonna work with a regular tool, so I'm just gonna look for ciphers here. Yeah, because that is way too high. Let's see if we draw that up to the 786. Yeah, that is essentially the cipher reacted off of right over there. That is our first area of interest. Personally, because I draw PRC's menu, I really dislike ciphers itself. So I'm just gonna keep this line on here instead of drawing the entire box. Because usually ciphers have a very wide PRC. Let's see if we can actually use it though. That is a 0.56. Can't really use that. No, can't really use that either. Can you use a shark? I think there's a shark here. Not really either. This coin on a higher time frame doesn't have all that much. That is interesting. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we seem to be reacting to this a bit though. This is a weekly fan. Okay, apart from this, we seem to be reacting to this really well. Okay, I'm gonna look for this range a bit more because on a very high time frame, I don't see all that much. I can start being a bit less strict. I can probably get a shark out of this. I can probably also get a 5-0 somewhere in here, but I don't like doing that. Yeah, I like GTO as well, don't get me wrong. I think this coin looks really good. In general, I think if you're really bullish on Solana, I think you should look at GTO as well. Explained that in my past stream. I think Solana itself might have some trouble actually like putting in multiple access because the market cap is essentially already at all-time high. Like the market cap is like desyncing from the USDT chart quite a bit. So if I go on Sol USDT on a weekly, we are like right over here, right? We are 22% away from what's it called? 20% away from all-time high was our peak. We are currently 45% away from all-time high. Now if I go to the Sol market cap, our all-time high was actually higher than the old one. It's 16% higher. And we are currently only trading 16% below it. So that is why, obviously, Sol, if you believe in Sol, you should get Sol, right? I mean, it is also just that simple. But Solana is a case where I personally would look more for beta plays like GTO. Just because that market cap is kind of desyncing, right? So that makes it a bit harder to lift off. Okay, so let's look. I'm gonna hide the fans because if I put too much on it, it's gonna become chaotic. See, one disadvantage of FIB systems. At some point, it becomes hard to read. Okay, let's see. This is essentially almost the same level, actually. That's interesting. I can get one more below it, and it's probably gonna be somewhere along these lines. But I don't want to calculate that number, so I cannot the square root of that. So let's keep it at this. There is, if I remember correctly, a cipher here. An actual really good cipher. Okay, there's a cipher right there. There should also be a shark. It's a bit too high for a regular shark. I'm just gonna make a shark with the cipher tool. It is essentially more of a deep cipher, or whatever you want to call that pattern. It is very confluent. As you can see, the ratios form a really nice 886 at the same spot as a 1.618. So this is a very good level. So I don't even have to draw a box for that. That is actually the exact same level. So I'll mark this one for a cipher. Make it dark blue and say cipher. This one dark blue as well. That is a very confluent level. So now, because of this, we now know that on the daily we are, not only are we uptrending, because for harmonics like this, I don't necessarily look at market structure. I look more at what we're bouncing off of. So we are essentially uptrending because we know there's a cipher there. What are the TPs for that? The TPs for that are these levels. We have tapped TP1. So it is possible for us to just go back down and just kind of raid these lows and put in a type 2. So that is very textbook harmonic structure, is where you react to the harmonic initially, you tap TP1, go back down, you tap TP2. That is very possible. In general, I would consider this going to be in an uptrend. So now I would go on a lower time frame. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I think I'm gonna literally get the exact same result. This coin really likes ciphers. that is why I can usually not find that much on it, because we're literally just making cipher after cipher or shark after shark using the cipher tool. That's very confluent as well. It's the same story here. I'm gonna mark out the 886 right over here, essentially on this wick or like slightly above it. And I'm gonna mark out the 786 on this as well. Okay, so if we get a rejection, or I'm gonna just mark out the same thing again, right? Our current target for this move is gonna be this 382. So right up here. If we get a rejection before that, I think this box is a good area to look for plays. If you want to get spot, I would say this box is a good level. And I would say this is a good level. In general, these are very high time frame levels essentially, right? Because this coin hasn't existed for that long. So these would be very confluent levels. These would quite literally just be my spot bids, like exactly these levels. I will probably move this one up just because everyone's gonna bid 2. So I would put this at 2001. But in general, these are going to be my levels. We could kind of reject from this dynamic support resistance over here. But in general, this is the target. Ideally, we want to look for this. We want to see this 382 get tapped. We want to go back down, break the lows, and then go back up. Not only to this 618, but also to this one. So that is what we would look for. For spot plays, it would literally just be bids in that area. It would literally just be this. And this would be a soft stop, right? You just don't want to be closing below these levels. So that is a soft stop. And you would be looking for something like this. Those are like a kind of textbook bids you can go for. In general, if you want to like kind of leverage trade this, which I think it's fine, right? I would just look for a reaction on any of these areas. Anywhere in this area, and just try and see if you can get a nice reaction, close above, and then long that. Kind of exactly what we saw right over here. So you break out of this level, you go back down, you close above the level, and you can just kind of take that trade just like that. And that is going to be your trade. And what you're targeting are just the regular harmonic TPs, right? And you're going to take one TP a bit earlier, probably at this wick, for example, just to de-risk, because you are entering on the middle of a move. You're not entering on the actual move, or like on the actual point you need to enter. You need to find a soul battle, the best candidate with. No, that is Popcat. But I think the best candidate has already sealed. That coin is gone. The cat pops. So this long essentially, this is long you can't take right now, but that is like I would look for a similar play again if you get the same setup. So for example, go back down, wick this as well. You kind of have the lows right over here. Wick this as well, go like that, and then you would take along this area. A little bit more of a scalp play. Also a bit like harder to execute, right? But that is what I would look for right now. Otherwise, it's gonna be in general for spot. I think this is a very good buy. I think this coin is pretty good. So that is it for GTO. Maker ZRX. I think Maker's gonna be a quick one because I already have it charted. Sorry for the flashback. Maker, really, really, really good chart. I don't know why I don't have that enabled on higher time frames. Really good chart. I really like this. On a higher time frame, this is maybe one of the most harmonic charts out there. I mean, you can see the boxes, right? On a very high time frame, I think this coin is gonna absolutely rip. I don't know how low we're gonna go because this is currently downtrending, but you can already see it on the oscillators. Like the oscillators are uptrending already, so I don't know how low we're gonna go, but I think this is gonna absolutely rip someday. I think this for like a higher time frame is a really really good buy, and that's why we're buying it, right? Like I have a maker spot position active for that reason. So I think, like in general, I just think these are really good levels. This chart on the high time frame is absolutely beautiful. Have we go on a lower time frame? This is not valid anymore. This, what is that? That was a Deep Guardian. I'll actually draw this out now. Because I think it might still be inside of the PRZ, so I'm just going to draw this out real quick. Put that one over C, just like that, to measure the ABCD. Just gonna do the last one just like that. Okay, so we are currently bearish backtesting the bottom of that. This is the actual PRZ. That is where we consolidated. Let's say that was a Deep Guardian. This is like kind of the outer skirts of that. They're currently bearish backtesting that. This is not what you want to see. So essentially, I think this coin is going to go lower for now. Where is it going to go? We are probably just going to take out the wicks right over here and go to one of the other areas I showcased earlier. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Still on the chaos chart. I think it was this one. Yeah. Oh, that doesn't work that way. Yeah, Popcat. I mean, Popcat's just gonna keep going. It is just. I mean, it's a good meme, right? People actually use it. It is actually a funny meme. Like no one. I'm gonna break to you, but no one actually cares about SHIB. Like as far as fundamentals go, on meme coins, because yes, I think fundamentals on meme coins matter. People actually use Popcat. If it starts running, well, people use the meme anyway. It's easy to use. It's easy to share. So more people are going to get in it because people are going to post memes because of their positions. Like, hey, I'm making profit on this cat, and then they post a Popcat gif with it. No one's going to do that with SHIB. Yeah, memes are just going to keep outperforming. I think memes are going to perform like the best still. So that is also like, I said it like kind of as a joke, right? But I said Mumu is fundamentally undervalued. And the reason for that is that this little bull is actually the mascot of the bull run, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like a meme. It kind of is, but in general, like I'm genuine. I think this coin is undervalued for the reason that if the bull market goes back on, people are gonna post Mumu anyway, even if they're not in Mumu. Like people use the bull anyway. So if the bull market is actually gonna get going, people are gonna use the meme more, and people are gonna be like, wait, that meme actually has a meme coin. Yeah, I got into Mumu as well, but I cut it too early. What's it called? I got in right over here, probably around the same spot you got in somewhere. I think you got in right at that area as well, right? But I got out most of it, like right over here. When I saw that nasty wick up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get out and buy lower. Big mistake. Very, very big mistake. But anyway, then I bought it back down here. After charting it on stream, took some here. I'm gonna look to rebuy somewhere over here. Should have actually had it on my list. That is a mistake, but it is what it is. But in general, I think for meme coins, I think this coin is gonna run really, really hard. So yeah, I still think like meme coins are just gonna keep outperforming because that's where the attention is. Like in general, who like actually, like even if I take a very popular coin, right? Even if I take FET or ASI after the merge, very, very popular coin, right? Everyone knows about it. It runs really hard. Does anyone actually know what that coin does? Because I don't. I know it's AI, but that's about it. Because people don't actually care about fundamentals for the most part. Like on crypto tokens. Like I care about it in extreme case, right? For example, Aave. I have a lot of Aave because I think the fundamentals and the spot it's in is absolutely fantastic. So I care about it in some cases for sure. But in general, people don't look at fundamentals all that much. Because literally, what does FET even do? like Render, for example, is fundamentally, I think it's a fine project. I think Aether is fundamentally a pretty good project. But I will look at the chart anyway because, well, no one even looks at the fundamentals. Except for extreme case. Like Ondo has like massive, massive fundamental potential. So that's why I look at fundamentals as well. Aave, same story. Bitcoin, same story, I guess. I just buy it, right? I don't actually, like, a part of my bag I just buy and I don't actually sell. I'll see where it is when I'm like 70. I don't know where it's gonna be by then. We'll figure it out. But anyway, that is why, like, that is why I genuinely believe coins like this can be fundamentally undervalued. Because it's gonna be the same fundamentals as, hey, this coin has AI, I'm gonna buy it. There's AI attached to it. Yeah. Imagine this scenario where the AI bubble pops. That is gonna be wild. I charted this on the video a while ago. I'm gonna flashbang you guys. Close your eyes. I charted this on the video right before earnings, and I said if like we're actually gonna get into a downtrend now, I think the video is actually gonna go to like 58, because that was the first target I saw. And genuinely, I'm not sure if it goes there. Like, I sold most of my video up here. I think these levels are pretty good, like the 90 levels. If we start downtrending, I think these levels are genuinely pretty good. But imagine if it goes here. Like genuinely, can you imagine the smell in the air if Nvidia goes to 58? Because hey, I don't know if it's gonna go there, but I cannot remove the fibs. I mean, the fibs are there. I don't know what AI coins are gonna look like if this happens. That is, yeah, because we saw Fed just go on like a 60% downtrend in a few days. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Privacy was such a huge narrative last bull run. Yeah, I don't even know what the privacy coins are. As far as I know XMR is one, I think. I just don't look at privacy coins. Waves was one as well, right? I think I don't know what the privacy coins are. QRDO. QRDO. Oh. Well, we can see what happened to that. Yeah, so imagine if AI coins start looking like that. And the first thought that comes up in my mind as well, right, is that is not gonna happen. Because AI is such a huge narrative. That is the first thought that comes up. And then you're like, what did people actually think? Because I wasn't there when this was happening, right? I didn't trade back then. And I look at it and I'm like, what were people thinking back then? Privacy, if you think about it, is such a huge narrative as well. People here were probably saying the same. Well, privacy isn't going to go back down there because it's such a huge narrative. Probably just not going to happen. So do I think AI is going to go like that low? No. Well, I don't think so. But it doesn't really matter what I think, right? Because the people here didn't think so either. Zano. Zano. Let's see. Is that the oldest coin? I mean, there's not really much to chart. It is uptrending. That is all I can give you. Let's see. Maybe there's an ABCD. Yeah, there's a 707, so this should go to the 141. It is not really responding to it. Yeah, you can see by the wicks that it is like kind of a liquid, so I wouldn't recommend to actively like trade it. You can maybe start to swing on it or something if you really like it. I don't know. I wouldn't trade this coin personally. If you really like the project, you would look for a higher low. Like you would, for example, just pull a fib like this, right? Just pull a fib like this. And you can try and see if you can get an entry at either the 0.5, the 618, or the 786, somewhere in this area. That's where you can look for a potential higher low. But that is about it. There's not much to chart on this. I can chart a very low time frame, but this is not a coin you should be like low time frame trading anyway because the volume isn't there. Okay, let's see. I completely sidetracked. We were charting Maker actually. Let's see if we have something up here. I'm just gonna go on a weekly chart to make it a bit easier. Yeah, maybe Weatherman could find something. It's really good with liquid coins. Okay, I'm gonna get all of this out of the way. I'm gonna do the same thing again. So I'm gonna draw a bat, and I'm gonna do something very illegal, and I'm gonna also wait, why is this not there? I'm gonna also mark out the I think this is actually lowest point, yeah. I'm gonna also mark out the 786 for one simple reason. This is called a Leo. It is an informal harmonic pattern. And it is very similar to the bat. If a bat right over there. If a bat has an X to B ratio of 0.5 and then it has 5% tolerance on that. Let's see if this is actually valid one do. Yeah. And it has a 5% tolerance on that. What you're gonna find is that you also have a reversal zone right at 786. So when we look at this, we can see a few clusters. One, we can see a cluster right over here. So that, starting from the 886, I'm going to take it to that 2.5. That is going to be our first BRZ. Oh, that is the wrong one. But what we can also see, and this is a bit dense, right? Because this is very complementary. We have that 786 and that 1618 on the exact same spot. So that is also what I'm going to be looking at. I can't even mark it out as a box. I'm going to try it anyway. I just marked his box right over there. Oh. Then just rename that to Leo that. Just like that. So if we assume that Maker is going to downtrend here, did I not? I'm marking out the wrong things. Okay, if we assume that Maker is going to actually keep downtrending here, because of what we saw earlier, I think this Leo right over there, that is our main reversal point. We have a slight bit of lenience because it's on such a high time frame, but this is my main area of interest then. So if it goes down here, not sure if it will, because we could still just try and go up and kind of reclaim this. But for now, I think this coin looks like it wants to go lower. I would look for like a kind of wick into this area, maybe take out these lows right over here, and then go up. And then because I have spot bids there as well, at 1.272, I know it because it's the FIB number as well. I would look for just a play if we wick down and then close below that Leo again, so close above 1.276 is the highest point here. You can just take a trade like that. You can just take it as an SFP because there should be a good amount of liquidity there. And you can take it pretty high, right? So this is the most obvious wick to go for. In general, I would look to at least TP the bottom of this deep Godly. After that, it's a bit hard to manage from now on, right? So for possible TPs, I would just look at someone like this. Just take the wicks, look at TPs for that. But this is a trigger play, right? You don't set limits for this. You want price to go into it and then prove that it doesn't actually belong there, prove that this liquidity is not enough to push it down, and then just close above. You want it to catch the orders, close above, and that's when you take the one. If you ever see like a squiggle on my chart that goes like this, that means it's an SFP or a trigger play. I'm gonna keep repeating that every stream, but that is essentially what it is. So that is it for Maker. I saw ZRX, I think. I haven't looked at ZRX in a long time, and I know that coin looks good. Or well, used to look good. Boy. Yeah, that's not good. I really don't like that we are building below this. That is kind of sad. Because we kind of had that structure going on where we had that like bear market range, right? And you broke out and flipped it back to support right over there. And now if you actually take those candle closes, we are kind of we were building below it. Like we can still flip it to support now. This candle actually looks like it's doing it. In general, I don't really like this price action. But let's look at our Molnex. We have an obvious M structure right over there. So you can actually take it up to that. I think it's going to be 414. No, well, if I take the next low, which is also completely fine. Yeah, it's 0.06 out of tolerance. I don't care. That is close enough. We take that to the 886 right over there. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. Oh, BTC is pushing. Looks like it. So let's mark this out. I like the ZRX suggestion, by the way. I forgot about this coin for the most part. This was one of the first coins I longed when I joined Unity as an analyst. Fun coin. Yeah, you have that bad. You had it as well, right? Because I think you posted about ZRX as well a long time ago. Yeah, that bat looks really good. Just look at how condensed the actual PRZ is right over here, and we're closing above it. This, I would have absolutely loved if I saw this earlier. Imagine seeing this, like on the wick, on the reclaim. I'm gonna drag this out. Yeah, I agree. I think CRX is a good token. Price action, like, the chart looks a bit ugly, so it's a bit weird, but price action reflects it. This coin has demand. Because in general, no matter how you look at it, right, you are still, like, one, there's price action, which is, like, for some coins, that is already hard, right? Two, if this is your downtrend, right, this is your low, this is your high. So this is a break of structure. So this is a higher low. So in general, this coin has demand. If you look at it on a very high time frame, this coin is getting traded and people want this coin. That is essentially what this is telling you. So you can trade this coin. That is why if this low was like down here, I wouldn't trade it because realistically you can expect a lower high. While realistically now, because this is a higher low, we can expect a higher high. Somewhere down the future, right? This is going to take long. This isn't going to happen tomorrow. But in general, we can expect a higher high. Because, well, after a higher, if you make a higher high, then a higher low, well, next is a higher high. Again, it's a standard uptrend, right? No, it's gonna happen tomorrow, brother. All-time high by tomorrow. No, I can't give you a time confluence. I cannot. I am not good enough again yet. I'm learning it though. One day I'll be able to give you the exact time. That is the goal. Is ERX? No, I do not have spot position at the moment. But I would. This is very interesting. I might get into a spot position. Because in general, like, considering the lower time frame structure, right? I'm gonna do the same thing again. This is your high. Well, this is your low. This is your high. Low, high, low, high. This is a downtrend, right? You now have a higher low, and you now have a higher high. You broke the downtrend. That is what this is telling you. Some people might say this is an internal high. Well, some people also think BTC is going to go to 13k, so it is what it is. In general, this, even if this would be an internal high, which you can make an argument for. I don't think it is, but you can make an argument for it. No matter how you look at it, building above this point is a good sign of strength. You even SFP'd it and still went up and started building above it. So in general, I think this is a sign of strength, and it aligns with our higher time frame idea of this coin having demand. And it aligns with our bat right over there. So yeah, I think this coin is very interesting for spot, especially. Or like for swings, for example. Lower time frames, don't know yet. Unsure. Yeah, you can see just how well that Leo is reacting. Like just like these two lines are just oh, that's a bat, right? Yeah, you can see how well that bat's reacting, because these two lines are literally just being used as SNR the whole time. Okay. This can be seen as a flip. That was your initial entry. We missed that. We can look for. Let's see. Do we have anything? Just gonna take these lows instead. I don't think realistically get that. I think this is tapped. Let's try something else. Try to get a white swan. Yeah, that's a 3.0. That's nice. Gonna look for that to hit a 382. The 382 is right over there, and then the 886 is right over there. So this is your, yeah, okay. That is we didn't get that entry. What we can look for is one, if we get some kind of type 2. So I'm gonna draw the TPs again. It's gonna put these TPs on there. So let's say we do this, we start hitting this TP. We can either look for a retest of this and try along that, and then we can try and get it to the 618. Or if we fail that, go below, we can look for this area again. Have it marked? No, let's type it. So just like that. I can't really give you an entry on it because it is, like, again, a reaction play. So I can't give you an exact play. You're just gonna look for reactions on those boxes, and that's when you want to look for an entry. ADA, you want me to look at ADA? Okay, I I am memeing, but in general, I think ADA looks fine. Like, I'm genuine. I think that coin looks fine. I don't have it on this chart. I'm gonna flashbang. So close your eyes, guys. Yeah, I pulled the circles out for ADA, and they're working really well. No, in general, this is like, I like the circles here, but it is not too actionable because they're on too high of a time frame. Because, well, this would be a really nice area. Okay, let's get on a lower time frame. I mean, it's a thing I explained, like, when we started looking at requested coins. BTC has gone up 370% since the bear market lows, right? So if I take the bear market lows and I go up 370%, this is right over there. If I were to look at where BTC is right now, BTC is currently up 300%. ADA is not nearly up 300%. The 300% mark's right over there. In general, this kind of tells you, hey, this coin, it might have some demand because it is technically still getting traded, right? This is higher than this part. Like, we are doing things. This coin doesn't have too much demand because we haven't even tapped that yet. We haven't even tapped the old all-time high. Or something that Scott Carney does, so like the person who, like, didn't really make harmonics, but he did like by far the most work to them. So he essentially made them. If you just take the all-time high, then take the all-time low, it has not even tapped the 0.382 yet. So this coin is not getting traded all too much. That's something you need to know. Like, if you want to invest in this coin, well, you can, be my guest, right? If you really like it, but you are at a low point, it is rather easy to manage your risk here. But I wouldn't buy too much of it for the simple reason that this coin is clearly not getting traded all too much. Even among majors, right? If you look at like a BNB or Solana, etc., it is not showing too much strength. Okay, well, now that I've ranted about ADA, I can do the same thing for XRP, by the way. Actually, I want to show one chart before I get to ADA. The most Moonboy chart you will ever see. Because I saw the potential harmonic that Weatherman posted, and I want to show my my potential harmonic. There it is. What if we make a crab? What if we do? Right over there. Solana, what is your most possible to be? The point where I'm going to short Sol is 328. I'll show you the harmonic after this. But 328 is a butterfly, that's what I'm going to look to short. Okay, let's get back to actual charting. Yeah, but they had an ETF announced, but then the SEC sued them again. They like appealed the case, so now the ETF is not legal anymore, so the case got pulled. So they have no ETF anymore. Yeah, it is. It really is. I even said it in chat when the ETF came. I literally said in chat, what if they just fuck everyone up and send XRP back to the back to the crab? And if you actually look at the chart, well, would you look at that? There's the crab. It is actually flying, but then she said it like because this was the ETF pump, right? She said, "Oh, I was right over. This was the ETF pump. You can't even see it because BTC was dumping." So then in chat like, what if they just fuck everyone up and just send it down to the crab right over there? You'll love that. Harmonix predicting news has to be like my most favorite thing. That feels really good to do. Okay, let's go to ADA. There is probably a shark or a cypher. You can instantly see that top, right? 0.5. I hate that every coin has a 0.5 here. It is actually because every coin made a 5 on. Super annoying. Like most majors have done this. Really annoying because now your x to B ratios are only going to be 0.5s. I wouldn't 100% deem this a valid shark because of this. X2B on sharks matters less. X2B on shark initially didn't even have a ratio. So I take the BD very, very heavily, right? So I wouldn't deem this a fully valid shark. However, you can get a cipher out of that. You can also get an anti-crab out of it, but I'm not too sure about my anti-patterns yet, so I'm not gonna chart that. Yeah, essentially using the cipher tool, you can say just like some kind of deep cipher, it's whatever. It is still an 886 bounce. It's pretty confluent. In general, I would look for the actual cipher right over here. So you have the 786 right over there, and the 1272 right over there. That is very confluent. I mean, no. So a quick summary on anti-patterns and why I actually really like them is this. If you draw harmonics manually, and I have done that for a while, right? I'm literally just gonna draw this manually, even though I know ciphers use trend-based fib extensions instead of regular fibs. I'm gonna draw them with regular fibs for now. If I draw this manually, drawing every part manually, what you will see is you will actually get multiple PRZs. I don't think I have this one yet. You will get multiple PRZs. You have the cipher, which we just marked out right over there. It's very confluent, right? That's a pretty good PRZ. If I draw this with trend-based fib extensions, that 707 is going to be lower. So this is going to be somewhere over here. This is essentially your Cypher PUZ. Right over there. But what you will also see is that there are more clusters. Like, there is a cluster right over here. A pretty confluent one as well, because this is also your B point, right? And essentially what anti-patterns do is anti-patterns are work the exact same way, except for the cipher, ironically. Anti-patterns work the exact same way as regular patterns, but they use these clusters instead. So for example, this level or this level. Sometimes you'll get really, really confluent areas with that. And the thing I really like about them is that no one uses them. A lot of people know what a Gartley looks like. A lot of people, like the first pattern you learn when you trade harmonics is a Gartley. Or a bat, like at the start of making harmonics, Cardi didn't actually discern the two, it was one pattern. But it's one of the two. You will learn a Gartley or a bat first. Those are the most popular patterns, right? Because they are rather safe as well. It's a 786 or an 886. People like trading that. Something like a butterfly, which is just as old, people don't like trading that because you are actively trading a downtrend because it is a 1.x extension. So if you like the efficient market hypothesis that if a lot of people trade it, that's going to work a bit less, then anti-patterns are a fantastic solution to that. Because no one is looking for them. If you draw a bat, no one's going to actually look for the 786. Or, for example, I drew this on... I did it like this. I don't know why I didn't just type in ES. But hey, it is what it is. I think I drew it on this one. No, okay. I posted this in chat earlier if you want to verify it, because I accidentally called the bottom on SPX. But I drew this earlier, where you have, I think it was like this. You have a white swan here. How do I know it's a white swan? Because I take that 0.314. The cheat sheet says 0.382. I like the 0.314 really a lot because it's pi, essentially. So I think that's a very good level. And then you take the 886 as a bottom. These ratios matter as well. Obviously, I'm not going to go over all of them. You can get such a tight PRZ with this. And no one is looking for this because every harmonic trader is going to look at this area and say, I cannot find anything. There is no M shape. Because there is no M shape. This is way too extended for regular harmonics. So that is why I liked him a lot. So it is not technically an anti-pattern, but it is an informal pattern. But essentially, if you really trade harmonics a lot, you will get to the conclusion that there is a lot more to them than just the initial areas. You can get a lot more PRZs. Anti-patterns are just a way of showing them. It is just a structured way of doing that. Yeah, I have a cheat sheet as well. But for anti-pattern, there are a lot of both wrong cheat sheets, and there are a lot of ugly ones. Like literally, there's like this random pink and blue one, which is like, why would you ever choose those colors in your life? It really it doesn't look good. So I'm gonna make my own. So I'm just gonna gather all of them and make my own because that is the easiest way. I was charting 88, but essentially that's why I really like anti-patterns. So my main area of interest, because of the cipher, would be if we start flipping this to support. So if we start seeing some sort of breakout over here, flip this to support, and kind of just like what we did over here, I can even, because we are essentially looking at the 786 and what's called the 786 and the 1272 over there. I can even draw it like this. We also have a 141 over here, so I think this would be the most accurate way. That 707 is kind of more far apart, right? So this would in my eyes be the PRZ. If we start seeing this, that's when you would be able to look for a long. Same story again. You would look for a reaction there. You would place your stops, like let's say somewhere over there. Can't give you the exact number yet. Judging by the candle close, this is a good level. Your main TPs would be this area because there are a lot of clusters there. You see a lot of fibs there, so that's a good area to TP. And this area. Those are good levels to TP. So I would say TP over here. and you to be right over here. So that is a 0.618 as well. Essentially, you can take it really higher if you really like ADA. I don't, so I won't. But it's possible. In general, that's what I will be looking for. A bit more clear. Take this out of the way for the screenshot. Hey, good evening. Why am I getting so many messages? The market is doing fine. There's no need. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we've been streaming for a while already. See, do we have any more requests? I probably skipped a few, right? Oh yeah, not. I skipped not. Yeah. Oh yeah, I just said it. I just got to your message. Yeah, I have not charted partially. In general, I think this 86 is a very, very important level. As long as we're staying above this, I think it's fine. I don't like that we're closing below it. But in general, like on the weekly, for example, this is still fine. This looks pretty good. Like you just rated the previous week low, and you're looking to close above. Like we haven't actually closed yet, but this looks like you're about to close above. So this looks pretty good. If we start on a higher time frame, not only is this a very important level, but you also rated the previous week low. So I might add to our spot positions because we took some out on that massive pump, right? Our average was, I think, 0.749. I'm not entirely sure, but we took some out at like 30%, somewhere over there. I might look to add back in because I think that weekly price action, this, really good. I really like this. Let's see what do you have on there. Yeah, go ahead and take them by the close. That is good as well. It can be very let's go if you were one of my students, I would have disqualified that. Because you know the candle opened here. So that initial X, like this wick, happened after it, right? So you're kind of going back in time by doing that, by saying that this is the highest high after that. In general, the ratios are still there though. And it aligns on the same spot, right? Yeah, it's still the same area. That is actually very confluent that the 786 is there. Yeah, there it is. That is exactly what we bounce off of. This is kind of the triple tap sub as well, right? This is what Tia did before it kind of sent. Was it Tia? I mean, it was here, but it was down here. It's one of these setups. Okay, it actually didn't. Yapping. Anyway, I like this coin. I think this is very, very strong price action. And in general, I think, back to fundamentals, I think NOT is a pretty funny meme. Because it is both backwards tone, and you can actually use it by messing with people. The chart reflects it. Essentially, chart looks good. I like the meme coin. Meme coins are strong in general. So yeah, I think NOT's good. And it is at a very easy area to manage risk as well. So essentially what you would do is if you ever lose this 786, you just cut. That is your risk. So even taken from CMP, you're realistically not actually gonna get this stop loss, right? So let's take it a bit further. Let's say 13%. You would literally just wait for this, just cut right over there. A 13% stop loss on a meme coin, that is really good. Like that is actually really good. A 13% stop loss on a meme coin is something you want to dream for. Imagine getting a 13% stop loss on like Momo or Popcat or something like that. Like, your risk to reward is immense. Because if I just draw the technical targets of this, like I just take the harmonic TPs just like that. Even if I keep the 214 in, right? Even if I do that, your first TP on the like absolute first bearish target is 5 RR. That is a lot for a first TP, and that is like not even the actual TP, right? That is not the technical target. This is the technical target. Your technical target is a 2x. And what is your risk? Minus 10%. Ooh, that sucks. That is why I always I talked about the start of the stream. I recommend anyone and everyone to have one clean chart or one layer with just clean charts that you can just go on and you just instantly see what's happening, no matter how zoomed in you've been. So I'm gonna go back to the white layout. For me, it's this chart, right? If I'm like looking at the market and I think like this is all going to zero, I just look at this chart and I'm like, well, we're kind of just retesting this. It's like not that big of a deal. We're like closing below it. I mean above it. We even closed green on the last day. Like this kind of looks good. So that just really helps with psychology, mental, and just your like view on the market in general. So if you sold because you just didn't feel like being in the trade anymore, and that was your reason for selling, you were just like afraid, like emotions, rather than hey, this thing has lost support and has just very retested. I recommend doing that. If you take a play on the coin, if you take a play on lot, you just pull a fib just like that. And you're gonna be like, hey, we're like kind of bouncing on this. We haven't even lost this wick yet. Like even at the lowest point, we haven't even lost this yet. So it's kind of fine. So you might not feel good because you are still on a loss, but it's okay. It is still fine, right? So in general, I can recommend that to anyone. Like make trading as easy as possible. So I have like one layout that just instantly tells you what's going on. Yeah, you need to shut down emotions somehow. Because emotions really are like I said it a few times. You can learn to be profitable pure technical analysis wise in a very short time span. It doesn't take much more than a week to learn how support and resistance works. If you just put in a bit of time, you study, you like read it, read like a book about it, whatever. You can learn how support and resistance works pretty fast. That doesn't take too long. Like it still takes time. You need to put effort into it, but it goes pretty fast. But most people are not profitable until a very long amount of time, and that is because training is super hard mentally. Psychologically, it's really, really hard. Because the markets are made that way. The markets are made to make sure you want to sell at the lows. Like those big red candles, they want to make you sell. Like dumps like these are so aggressive that you're gonna doubt that you even have a good buy in at the first place. Because if you bought anywhere in this range, I think this is a pretty good buy. I think that on a higher time frame is a really, really good buy. I think this is a good buy on a higher time frame. I think you can see this on spot, and it is realistically a pretty good buy because your risk to reward is pretty good. It is minus 10%, 13% if you just calculate a bit of extra room in, for a 2x on the first technical target. High time frame, I think this is good. But people don't want to buy the lows because the lows are made to not want to make you buy. Like that is why I need charts like these as well, because like I'm like that as well. I have emotions too. But I just need to ignore them in trading. I need to see this and be like, hey, on the technical standpoint, this is a pretty good spot to buy. This is where I can manage my risk, and this is where the market is showing me that we do not accept below this level. I want to buy there. But it's so hard, so like make it easy for yourself. Not as a good example of that. I think this is still a good buy. Because realistically, like, this is a new meme coin, and people are gonna try and short this on the way up. You saw it. That's why this pump up is so impulsive. That only happens when you actually start liquidating people. You start getting shorts out. You can also see it over here. Like this coin, it runs. Like this is a really new coin. It has existence since June. This one's gonna run. That is what I think. I think this coin looks good. On a very high time frame, looks good. It's not even a very high time frame. If I zoom in and go on a 3 hour, you can just see by the sheer difference in how the candles look. Look at how many wicks are over here when we initially bought. No one is trading this. We have had one single push. And look at this. A lot of people are trading it. The wicks that we see over here are essentially gone. It is no longer barcoding. The wicks are like normal now. Like, I think this coin is going to run. That's what I think. It's going to run hard. Yeah, but realistically, even if you count full TP, there is no way you would have held full TP to the high. Like, I am pretty certain that I will not actually sell all-time high. Even though I consider myself to be decent at reading the market. I have a decent idea of what the market's going to do. I'm not going to sell all-time high. Like, I'm very certain of that. I might sell close to it, and I know I'm going to be able to sell the bounce after it. But actually selling all-time high, probably no way. And there's absolutely no way I'm doing it with my entire port. There's no way I have full port sell all-time high, right? You're going to take profits before that, realistically. And you're going to... and what's it called? Even if you think it is the top, you're probably not going to take everything out at the actual top, which you think it is the top. You might say so now, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to do that, at least. But I am going to make sure that when I get out, I have a good amount of profit. Or when I get out, that the market is actually going to go a lot lower. Because essentially, you don't need to catch the top and the bottom. You need to buy, and it needs to go up after that. And then you sell when it's high. And considering that markets in general are uptrending, you kind of just want to buy at places where you have an easy point of saying, hey, if it goes this low, it's going to go lower. That's literally it. Because in general, markets are uptrending. Like, you cannot look at like an actual high time frame BTC chart and say this is bearish, right? You can't. I know people are trying to, but you can't. So in general, you can consider this an uptrending market, right? So if you stay in the market without making losses, you are eventually going to make profit. So that's kind of the trick. Stay in the market, don't make losses. Yeah, separating your port is really good. So I do it a bit extreme. I have a very, very long-term port that I will not sell. Or well, I have a port and a coin, right? I have a part of BTC. I have a part of what's it called? Physical gold and SPX that I do not sell. I just buy it every now and then, a little bit, and I do not sell it. And then in like a few tens of years, I will look at it and all of those because gold is in there as well, it's like kind of hedged out, right? I will look at it in a few years, and essentially I'm going to look at it, and it is going to be a pretty good amount because I'm putting like low amounts into it every now and then. Yeah, literally. I mean, the wording is really bad, but you get what I mean. A few decades. Like really, really long term. That is like one part of my port. That is like really, really long term. Like pure, like utterly long term. Like my life is gonna double because I'm like 21 now, right? My life's gonna double before I sell that. I have another long-term bag where I just buy tokens when it's really low and I don't look at it anymore until my target's hit. So I talked a lot about this off, like a lot. I think it got annoying after a while, but it didn't stop, and for good reason. Because I think I have it marked out. Yeah, because this is my average now, right? And when we went down, I bought more. And I was telling people, like, I really like this coin. I'm going to keep buying this. On my long-term port, I still haven't sold anything. Because I think this is going to go a lot higher. I think fundamentally this is one of the best projects out there. And I've explained this a few times, TLDR. I don't think staking is actually secure for the government, right, for the dollar. I think you can make a really good argument for that it is a security, that a token like LDO is actually a security. And lending is, in my eyes, the solution to that. So Aave is a lending protocol. That's how far it goes. That's like TLDR. I think this is really good, properly positioned. I don't think this coin has much competition, because this is the competition, and the competition can't even beat itself. So I'm holding this for long term. Where's my TP1 going to be? My TP1 is going to be, there's a bearish 5-0. I'm just going to be lazy and pull the 0.5 on it. That's going to be my TP1, essentially. I do, however, I am however considering to take it a bit earlier. To take a first TP. Because there is a bet there. Yeah, I am considering to take a TP right over there. But in general, you can see the idea, right? That is still way up. Even though you can see it if you look at my channel, I usually take TPs pretty early. Because if I leverage trade, I take TPs pretty aggressively. It's because it's separate, right? I have different goals for them. So the lower time frame, even like a 6 or a 3 day, it doesn't really affect me. I will hold this coin for a long time anyway. Unless something like really, really changes, like massive changes, I'm just going to be holding this until it hits my targets. And then I have like kind of midterm holds that most would consider long term, which would be like, let's say ETH, right? ETH, I consider ETH like a mid to long term hold. Probably just a this cycle hold, right? I'm just gonna sell it when it hits my targets. I'm not gonna draw the entire harmonic. These are my targets for ETH, essentially. It is the these are my ETH targets for this cycle. Yeah, for sure, Ottoman. I'll see you later. It was fun having you in the stream. Thanks, brother. New coin coming out, TGA, what exactly? No, I think you can make a good argument to say that staking is a security for majors. Like, if it is very safe to invest, then staking is a security. Because if you look at the API on, for example, Ethereum, right? The Ethereum ETF had staking removed at the last moment. Because if you look at the API of that, it's out of my head, it's like 6, 7, or 8%, something like that. If you compare that to indexes, the API they give, that is way too high. 6 or 7% on a relatively stable asset. If it becomes an ETF, it will long term become a relatively stable asset, right? Especially Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin cannot have staking in the ETF. That is completely messed up for the economy. Because if you have that high of an API on a relatively safe asset, you're literally just inflating the dollar by an unbelievable amount. You just added 6% inflation to everyone that invested in the Bitcoin ETF. Which is just the danger for the dollar, right? Because there's just gonna be so many more dollars that are gonna just get made out of thin air. Like, you just hold BTC for a year, you just have 6% more dollars. That's ridiculous. For institutions, that is absurdly high. So that is, in my eyes, a security. So I think a token like LDO is essentially a security because Ethereum has an ETF. And that is why I genuinely think Aave benefits more from the ETH ETF than Ethereum. Because Aave is in a perfect spot for that. Because Aave isn't a security because lending is allowed. Lending and borrowing is like actually a normal system, right? That's what everyone does. You just take out a loan. Well, if Ethereum or Bitcoin is considered a coin or an asset, you can just take out a loan on Ethereum. That makes a lot of sense. That is possible. That's possible through Aave. It's possible through CRV as well, I think. But like, literally, who looks at this and thinks, hey, this is safe to invest in? Like, that's what a trader does, right? That is not what institutions do. And even traders don't, because, well, there is your all-time low. You're literally actively trading below it. Yeah, I don't know too much about Volks Finance. I cannot comment on that. I haven't done any research. I am not someone. Ironically, the last few streams have been quite a bit about fundamental analysis. I don't actually do that. This is one of the exceptions. I look at the charts. Oh yeah, DWM. That is the last coin I'm gonna look. This is essentially a Celestia beta. It is both a modular token, and DWM got airdropped to Celestia stakers, and probably a bunch of other things. I think this looks good because I think Tia looks good. I mean, you can see the meme line. If I can bend this, no, I cannot bend it enough. I tried. Essentially, I think this looks good. I mean, it looks weird, right? Because the coin looks like this. But in general, I think the structuring looks pretty solid. I'm gonna start drawing this on the listing wicks. Okay, there's no real confluence there. Can't really do anything with that. Yeah, so this coin is gonna naturally move very violently, right? Because there's a rather low market cap. There's an airdrop token, etc. It's gonna move pretty violently. Essentially, the argument I'm gonna make for it is this. This is your last low. I mean, there's your high and your low, right? You're in a downtrend. There's your last low, there's your high, higher low. You can either take this as a low. This will be valid in like a 12-hour. It's not really a daily low. And that's like, I'm gonna go on the 12-hour to make a point. It's like a 12-hour high, right? 12-hour higher low again. Higher high. Structure break. On the daily, this is arguable. This could be an eternal high. No matter how you look at it, this is a sign of strength. Building above it is a sign of strength. So naturally, we are looking for another higher low. So what would I do? I would just pull a fib. Like, keep it simple. Take a fib pull. I'm just gonna use my default settings. There they are. And you can see right there, we are front running the 786. The reason why I have the 764 as well is because the most bullish thing a coin can do is this. It actually front runs the 786, but it did essentially touch it, right? You can see this is essentially a touch. So I touched the pocket. This is my front run level. This is extremely good. Just look at this. It's fantastic. I don't even chart harmonics. Like, I don't even need to. There's no need. This is gonna go up. I think this looks really good. So I'm gonna show you how to draw this fan because I think this fan works a lot. Very, very simple. Fans work the same way fibs work. You take the high, you take the low. That's your fan. So spill the major secret there because fans look complicated. That's it. That's your high, that's your low. That's how you draw it. These are my settings. I just use the same levels as I would for fibs. It's actually just pick and choose which ones you want to have. So I have a bunch of layouts because you can't put in that many. But in general, zoom in on that. The best thing we can do right now, because we kind of went through the 618 in the first tab, we do still have this diagonal here, and like we have this kind of dynamic moving average there, right? It's a bit different for different time frames. That's why I kind of usually don't use them, but I really like this one. What I want to look for is I want to see this breaking out of this diagonal. You can treat the diagonals exactly like a trend line, right? Either a trend line or a diagonal support resistance. I want to see breakout and flip this. Considering that these two cross here, you have a 618 there, and then the diagonal 0.314, so 0.pi. I think that's a really good level. So I would look for something like this. And if you actually get that flip, take it like that, right? You can either take it like this or say, hey, that 707 is what we flipped before, that is going to be my bone. I will probably take it like this on a candle closes. What do you target? Well, you are in an uptrend, right? So because you are in an uptrend, your major target is the last high. So this one. So that's essentially what you target. That is like the last high. If you trade ICT, you're gonna say this is your target. Can make an argument for that as well. I think that's a good target. I would TP this as well. You have a wick right over there. I would TP this. Yeah, I have a lot of wicks over here. These wicks compared to the candle bodies indicate that a lot of people shorted here. So I would TP that as well. Because those stops, if you run through them, it's probably going to cause a little imbalance and then go back down. Yeah, you could call it an order block as well. Different name for the same thing, right? This is an order block. If you think it's an order block, you need to TP the bottom. You TP order blocks over there. In general, for an order block, I just think this is support. Or well, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't actually look at support as this, right? I use it all of the time to explain stuff because it's simple. I don't care about this. I care about this. This is a 382 to a 414 pocket. So realistically, if I wanted to be that area, I would TP the bottom of that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna TP this wick over here because this is a rather low cap coin. So if it decides to go down, it is gonna do that faster. But yeah, if you think it's an order block, you TP the bottom. If you trade pips, you would TP the 414. Yeah, DYM is strong. I really like DYM. What's it called? Because I think modular projects are pretty scalable. So I think there's eventually sometime gonna be a narrative where a lot of majors are gonna like kind of start lagging because people are using them too much, and then you're gonna see Solana's like ingest again and those kind of things, where Solana's just gonna have an outage for several days and no one can actually do anything about it because the chain like kind of sucks fundamentally. And then people are gonna look for, hey, what chain doesn't have this? And then they're gonna come to the conclusion that modular chains are a lot more scalable. So TIA and DYM run together for that reason. But the TRX is an absolute. Ironically, though, TRX has a really, really big narrative if you look at the Chinese stock market. Because the Chinese stock market is going absolutely mental because of. I'm gonna make it very short because the stream is dragging along. They completed a nuclear test, so the country is now safe to invest in, essentially. That is like I unbelievably grossly oversimplified it, but that's the catalyst. So the country is safe to invest in when it wasn't before. So every single Chinese stock is doing this. This is not normal for stocks. This shouldn't happen. In Chinese, in the Eastern TA, because believe it or not, chart patterns are different across like regions in the world. This is called a rising dragon pattern, where you kind of have this long accumulation zone, and then all of a sudden it starts going. Or it's called like a dragon raises his head pattern. It is a Chinese saying, like, I don't know. I don't speak Chinese. Yeah, it's like a dragon raises his head. So that's what this is doing. Everyone's looking at that. The country is safe to invest in. There are major institutions like BlackRock now investing in it. They're completely out of the market before. Because it is now safe to invest in, so they're going into this. Retail's following. The Chinese stock market is mostly a retail market. This eventually rotates somewhere. Retail's going to rotate this somewhere. For institutions, this is the bottom. This is probably just a multi-year bull market. Like, genuinely, it's going to do this. That's what I think, over a very long term. What is that gap? Yeah, that is, I mean, in crypto we call it a CME gap, right? Because it's a stock chart. Yeah. This shouldn't happen. These kinds of gaps happen in Black Swan events. A 7% gap. The COVID gap on the SPX is like 5% or something. to put that into perspective. This shouldn't happen. And this is between the Wednesday and the Thursday. This is not weekend either. Like, this is in the middle of the week. It just gapped up 7%. Like, casually overnight. This money is eventually going to rotate somewhere. Where's it going to go? Probably the coins that the Chinese like. Makes sense, right? Simple caveman brain. So yeah, TRX makes sense, actually. I mean, the chart speaks for itself. It makes sense. TRX makes sense. Yeah, no, he's an idiot. I mean, the guy. It's called Justin Sun. That's an idiot. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure about the second one. I think the first one is a very solid investment. The second one is going to be really good to trade because TRX is going to take off, so those coins are going to catch a lot of volume. So for trading, very good. Yeah, but it has been for a very long time. TRX is going on. I mean, it just looks like an index, genuinely. I mean, that's what it looks like. I didn't actually post the DRAM chart yet. Okay, this is what I'm looking at for DRAM. Okay, I have been streaming for literally 2 hours now. I don't know. I always forget the time when I'm streaming, but I really do enjoy it. So it's not that bad. Any BT to give us a 4-hour close? Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna enable everything. I need to see the information. Yeah, this is not good. We rated the high right over here, and we're looking to close below. This isn't good. You need to actually close above this. If I think this is a 4-hour candle as well, right? Yeah. The 4-hour candle needs to actually close above this. Okay, preferably it closes above this. That is preferred. It has to close above this. I think that's pretty easy, but preferably it closes above this. If it closes above this level, that's when we can really see it lift off. Oh, I haven't had dinner yet. I stalled it, but I had a lot of food like in the afternoon because yeah, I felt like ordering food and I ordered too much. But yeah, I agree. We need a good 4-hour close. If we close higher, if we actually close like 62 for 100, that is really good. Make the chart bearable again. You ever wonder why I actually make it so organized? Why I have so many folders? Yeah, I have quite a bit of fibs on my chart. that That's the last one. Whatever. But yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm gonna end the recording here as well.